Here we will consider the ligaments of the distal inter-phalangeal joint and the ligaments of the collateral cartilage. So we begin with the collateral ligaments. So it's a little confusing. We have collateral cartilage, but we also have collateral ligaments. So collateral, both sides, again, same as the collaterals of the fetlock or metacarpophalangeal or the proximal interphalangeal. The collaterals limit the side-to-side articulation of the joint, allowing it primarily to articulate on a dorsopalmar plane. So we have collaterals on the medial and the lateral side, and that's the ligaments in blue. Then we have the suspensory ligament of the navicular bone, which has two long parts that run from the medial or lateral distal border of P1 down to the points or tips of the navicular bone, and then it has a short part which attaches the proximal border of the navicular bone with the distal palmar face of P2. So this is the suspensory ligament of the navicular. So opposing that, we have a ligament that originates on the distal border of the navicular and inserts onto the palmar face of P3. And that's the Impar ligament. Also known as the distal ligament of the distal sesamoid. The navicular is the distal sesamoid, and this ligament is the most distal ligament of that bone. So the impar ligament, or the distal ligament of the distal sesamoid. We also have a capsular ligament that encloses the joint, and because this joint has a bit more range of motion than the proximal interphalangeal, it has a little bit more tissue to it, but it encloses the joint containing the synovial fluid within. We also have another annular ligament, the same or similar to this proximal digital annular ligament. This one is more like the annular ligament proximal to the fetlock joint in that it really just encapsulates the palmar face more or less as a semicircle, enclosing the soft tissue that run down the back of the leg. Now we have another ligament that we need to consider. We need to draw in the deep digital flexor tendon, which lies inside this annular ligament, runs down the back of the leg over, redraw this annular ligament, make it more correct. So this is the deep digital flexor tendon, passes over the back face of the navicular bone, the palmar face of the navicular bone, and then passes insert onto the semilunar crest of P3. But before it does that, it sends off a branch, a small branch, that inserts onto the distal palmar face of P2. And in Gregory's book, he calls this the T ligament. So that's a small branch that runs off the deep digital flexor tendon and inserts onto the palmar distal border of P2. Then our distal annular ligament encapsulates all of that. So our deep digital flexor tendon is running down and then inserting onto the palmar face of P3. In the textbooks, it says that the deep digital flexor tendon just inserts onto the semilunar crest, but according to the latest studies, it actually has two branches. It has a medial and lateral branch that insert onto the semilunar crest. Which may be an important point in future years when MRIs are more common and might show that one branch, not the whole tissue, is strained, and that would affect how we might shoe the horse. So now let's look at the ligaments of the collateral cartilage that are in this region. I'll clean the board and we'll start again.